Ciao amici, benvenuti al Facile come Italiano. Hello friends, welcome to Easy as Italian. I'm Reza and yes, today we want to talk about the directions. So when you go to Italy, you wouldn't have any problems when you're asking about an address. Or if you are in Italy, you wouldn't have any problem when someone starts asking you about an address. Or even if you don't have any plan to go to Italy, you would have some phrases and verbs and words and adjectives up in your head. So when you're having conversation with an Italian or just you want to try to translate a text, you wouldn't have any problem. So now let's start with the verbs, the related verbs to the topic of directions. And I think the most logical verb that we can think of would be andare, to go. But I don't need that. I want the imperative form of that. I've talked about imperativo in the last session. I don't need to explain one more time again. I would just tell you the forms. So now andare is an irregular verb. So here, the imperative of that would be just the second pronoun singular of the present conjugation. So andare, the second pronoun singular would be vai. So I can just say vai dritto, go straight ahead. But this is informal. I can just say it to the people I know, like friends or family and stuff. So I need a formal form too. I say again, andare is an irregular verb, so don't try to find any relation. Vai, informal imperative, and vada is the formal imperative that I say comes from the subjunctive and stuff, but you don't need that. So vada dritto is go straight ahead, but in a formal way, so I can say it to anyone I see on the street, and that would be nice. Now the next verb is a very super useful verb. It is also in many phrases and idioms. That is girare, to turn. Now, for example, I can say incrocio means crossroads. So now I can say all'incrocio, for example, devi girare a destra. At the crossroad, you have to girare, turn destra, at the right. You have to turn to the right, okay? But now what if I want to use girare as the imperative itself? I would just delete re, gira would be the imperative form, so all'incrocio, gira a destra. At the crossroad, turn to the right. Now, this was informal, as you saw and noticed. So, what would be the formal form? Pretty easy. Just take are, put I. It's a regular verb, so we are at ease. Giri. Okay? So, all'incrocio, giri a sinistra, for example, this time. At the crossroad, turn to the left, but this time it's formal. Now, the next verb would be attraversare. Attraversare means crossing, okay, to cross. For example, attraversa il parco. Cross the park, okay, go past the park, go cross the park. Or attraversa la strada. Cross the street, okay? But the thing I'm using, attraversa, it's imperative, yes, but it's the informal again. So what would be the formal form? Just taking are, attraversare, taking the are and adding I. So attraversi la strada, pass or cross the street, cross the road. Attraversi il parco, go across the park, as easy as that. Now the next word we want to talk about is superare. Superare means to pass something, okay? Like for example, I can tell you supera il banco, okay? I'm giving you an address. I say, ok, gira a destra, supera il banco. Okay, pass the bank in this street. Okay, so superare means to pass. The imperative form supera. The formal imperative superi. Okay, just pass the bank, supera il banco, or I don't know, supera la pizzeria. Pass the, how to say, pizzeria. As it is that. Now the next verb would be more towards the questions you ask while you want to ask for an address. Like when you want to ask where is something, what would be the best and most logical way I've taught you till now? Using the questioning word dove, that means where. You can just say, for example, dove l'ospedale? Where is the hospital? Dove è il ristorante? Where is the restaurant? Right? Now, you can use also the verb arrivare with a combination of the verb potere. Well, you know potere very well since the session of the modal verbs. Now, arrivare, we have had a couple of examples of that. That means to arrive, right? So you can, for example, say, come posso arrivare al ristorante? How? Come posso arrivare? How can I arrive al ristorante? To the restaurant. How can I arrive to the restaurant? Come posso arrivare all'ospedale? How can I arrive to the hospital? Just a way of asking for an address. That is very cool. Now, another way is replacing arrivare with trovare. Trovare, to find, we have had a couple of examples of this too. So now we take arrivare, we take a, the preposition that comes with arrivare, to, and we put trovare, to find. So, come posso trovare il banco? How can I find the bank? Come posso trovare il parco? How can I find the park? Pretty simple. Now, we talked about the verbs. Let's see a couple of words and adjectives. Well, the most useful adjectives you will need in this topic would be vicino and distante. Well, vicino is an adjective that ends with O. So just like the other adjectives that end with O, it has four forms: vicino, vicina, vicini, vicine. And distante ends with E, and just like the other adjectives that end with E, it has only two forms: distante e distenti. Okay? Changes depending on the plurality of the noun, changes depending on the plurality and the gender of the noun. So now you can, for example, use very simple phrases like when someone tells you about the place, you can ask è vicino or è distante. Is it close or is it far, in distance? Okay? Or you can also use più to make very cool phrases with these adjectives. Well, you know, when you want to make an adjectives like er, putting in English, you put più before that, like più vicino, closer, più distante, further. Okay? Now, you can, for example, say dove il ristorante più vicino? Where is the closest restaurant? Dove l'ospedale più vicino? Where is the closest hospital? As it says that. Now, let's talk about another thing. For example, we have the phrase accanto a. Accanto a means next to. Okay? So you can say something like la pizzeria è accanto al bar. pizzeria is next to the bar. Another phrase, you can use tra a lot when you are giving an address, okay, or you are just asking questions. Tra or fra, that I have had a complete session about, right? So you can, for example, say il ristorante è tra il bar e la pizzeria. The restaurant is between the pizzeria and the bar. Very easy. Another thing, davanti means in front of, okay, davanti a. For example, you can say l'ospedale è davanti al banco. The hospital is in front of the bank. L'ospedale è davanti al banco. Another thing, when you ask about an address, some people may answer you with the geographical directions. I mean, like geographical signs and stuff like south, north, east, west. Okay? Just let me tell you those two, just in case maybe you needed them someday. Now, it would be nord, nord, sud, est, ovest. And that's it for today. I hope that this session has been useful for you. Remember to subscribe the channel for more sessions and more things about the Italian language, this beautiful language that unfortunately many people call hard. And like the video if you like the content and it was helpful. I will see you in the next couple of days. Have fun.